Good afternoon, this is Gabriel Jackson, and welcome to BJC Mitzvah Day. Use the Sefer HaChinuch, number 66. A Mitzvah Day keeps your soul on its way. So exciting, a new mitzvah, the obligation to lend money to the poor. Once again dedicated to our holy IDF soldiers, Klal Yisrael, the Jewish people, the hostages. And if you ever like to sponsor, we certainly would appreciate your sponsorship for just $36 or $100 for the gold. Here we go. The obligation to lend money to the poor. Says the pasuk in Parshas Mishpatim, the second book, the Parsha of Mishpatim, when you lend money to my people, to the poor person who is with you, do not act toward him as a creditor. Do not lay interest upon him. We are commanded to lend money to a poor person to the extent of our means and according to the borrower's needs, in order to afford him relief and alleviate his stress. A person is also required to give charity to the poor. That's going to be mitzvah number 479. The Chinuch contrasts the requirement to give charity to a poor person with the requirement of this mitzvah, lending to the needy. They're different. This mitzvah of extending a loan is of greater magnitude and obligation than the mitzvah of giving charity. For someone whose financial distress has been publicized and has become common knowledge among people, and who has already faced the embarrassment of requesting support from them, his strain and gloom are not comparable to those of someone who has not yet experienced that shame and who is apprehensive about submitting to it. Now, if the latter would have the slight support of a loan, perhaps through the slight easing of his financial situation, he will be spared from ever having to beg. And it can be anticipated that when the Almighty will mercifully allow him a profit from the borrowed funds, he will be able to repay his creditors and earn a livelihood from the remainder. Thus, by extending him a loan, one may spare him the anguish of ever having to submit to begging. Therefore, our perfect Torah cautions us about this and commands us to sustain a destitute person with a loan before he needs to resort to begging. As it is stated in Exodus, when you lend money to my people, to the poor person who is with you. Although the verse begins with the word im, which usually means if, and thus would seem to indicate that lending money is optional rather than obligatory, our sages of blessed memory have said that in Mechilta, which is one of the commentaries of the Chumash, to this verse, each and every im in the Torah means if and denotes a matter that is optional, except for three, which means when and are obligatory. And this is one of those exceptions. The sages prove this matter, that the verse is obligating one to lend money to the needy, from that which is stated elsewhere in the Torah, in Deuteronomy, in the form of a command. And you shall open your hand to him. You shall lend him his requirement, whatever is lacking to him. That verse, which treats lending to the needy as an obligation, serves as an indication that our verse also is to be understood as an obligatory statement. It will continue with part 2. Motzi Shabbos. We should be finished with part 2, maybe part 3. And there you have it. And we'll see you. Have a wonderful Shabbos. All the best.